Hi, I'm Jade. I'm going to talk about how we can improve the adolescent body image. I'm sorry if you hear background noise, that's just my family. Why having a healthy body image is important? Well, when one has a positive body image, they will most likely have a higher self-esteem. Having both of these things can cause you to be happy, and when you're happy, you try harder, which can earn good grades. Having a positive body image, high self-esteem, positive attitude, and good grades will significantly lower the risk of a mental illness. Here are some definitions that are good to know for my presentation. The basal metabolism rate is the minimal amount of energy used by the body during a resting state. Body mass index is a measure of an individual's body fat, the ratio of weight to height used to gauge overweight and obesity. Maturational deviance hypothesis. Due to the changes of puberty, early maturing females and late maturing males stand out from their peers, causing unwanted attention and psychological distress. Secondary sex characteristics, the manifestation of sexual maturity at puberty, including the development of breasts, the growth of facial and body hair, and changes in voice. When puberty starts, adolescents will go through a growth spurt. Starting off, their head and feet and hands will grow first, followed by their arms and legs and torsos and shoulders to match the rest. Adolescents also start the development of their secondary sex characteristics. Some examples are the development of breasts, facial and body hair, and the deepening of the voice in males. Your basal metabolism rate drops by 15% at the start of puberty as well. Higher self-esteem, body image, and popularity in boys often results from early maturation. When a boy starts puberty early, he has his growth spurt and develops a lower voice faster than his friends, which might make him seem pretty cool to them. The girls will also notice this and might make them attracted to him. The attention will most likely give the early maturing male a confidence boost, causing them to have a better outlook on his body image. This means the late maturing males will most likely be the ones to suffer from poor body image, since they will have a high voice and be shorter than the rest, so they will kind of feel sad that they don't look and sound like the rest of their peers. Girls, on the other hand, though, don't have it so good. Since they begin puberty earlier than boys as it is, the early maturing females will stand out from their peers more than they already would anyways. They would begin to grow much taller than everyone else, making them an easy target for bullying. Also, the head, hands, and feet grow first. She may notice these disproportions, even though her classmates might not. You tend to notice things about yourself more than you do others. So this will nevertheless be a factor of her self-consciousness. Girls tend to gain more fat than boys do during puberty. So when the early maturing female starts puberty, she will notice some weight gain as her other girl classmates remain thin. So she may become self-conscious about her weight as well. The late maturing female, on the other hand, may also have a poor body image, just like the early maturing female, due to the fact she hasn't yet developed breasts like her other peers, causing her to become more self-conscious of that. So the only person who kind of benefits from starting puberty is the early maturing male. This is a longitudinal study done by Rosenblum and Lewis. They found that over the span of 5 years, the female body dissatisfaction seemed to increase while the male's dissatisfaction increased. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. The female's dissatisfaction increased, the male's decreased. Here, so at the start of puberty, around the start of puberty, the male's number of body parts that they were dissatisfied with went down, and they continued to go down until 18. And the females were dissatisfied with the most of their body parts around this time in their life, and then it studies out around the age of 18. Another thing that can cause one to have a poor self-image is the mental health disorder, body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is a disorder in which the victim perceives a minor or non-existent flaw in themselves and magnifies them, causing the person to feel ugly. So example, they may feel they have a really large mouth. They may think that their nostrils are really big. They may think that they have weird eyebrows that go like when like really they're normal. With body dysmorphia, the victim may try to cover up their insecurities from sitting in an uncomfortable way or dressing in baggy clothing to cover up their flaw. This disorder can be very extreme sometimes and may cause the person to never leave their house because they feel so embarrassed of their appearance. They may also not want to leave for the fact that they're afraid of ruining someone's day because of how ugly they are. Body dysmorphia is a disorder of self-perception. It is the obsession with perfection. The estimate for what percentage of people suffer from body dysmorphia is a range from 0.7 to 2.4%, but it actually could be 9 to 14%. These are the 5 different types of body image eating disorders. The first one here is anorexia nervosa. It's an eating disorder in which the victim purposely avoids food consumption and often exercises to an unhealthy extent in order to avoid weight gain. Bulimia nervosa is an eating disorder in which the victim consumes a drastic amount of food, then follows up with a purge of some sort via either vomiting or by using laxatives. Binge eating disorder is an eating disorder in which the victim consumes a drastic amount of food but does not follow up with a purge of some sort. This can lead to obesity. Atypical anorexia is the same as anorexia, except the victim appears to have a normal body weight, but they do have the same symptoms. So that's good to know because you never know who could be suffering through it. So if you start to notice the signs, then maybe reach out to them, Avoidant restrictive food intake disorder is when the victim monitors their intake of food and or strays from certain types of food. I have some thoughts about teaching adolescents about eating disorders, but I will get into that on a different slide. There have been studies that tried to prevent adolescents from developing eating disorders. These are the 3 different groups of psychologists who have done different studies. So Killen and his team here. I'm sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce this, and I will just butcher it so bad. So I'm so sorry, this person, Palti and Butler, and then Paxton. In their research, they taught the adolescents the dangers about eating disorders and the harmful ideals society creates about the perfect body. Then they listed some benefits about eating healthy. None of these studies seem to prevent the at-risk students from developing eating disorders, and they also didn't help change their beliefs, even though they gained knowledge on the subject. I know when I was in grade 4 or 5, I don't really remember which one, but my class went to a one-woman play about bulimia, and I had no knowledge of the disorder prior to watching it, and I assume my classmates didn't either, but when it was over, I overheard some people talking about how maybe they should give it a try, and it's kind of sad to think about now. So maybe educating young, impressionable minds on eating disorders isn't the best thing to do, at least not alone. By only educating adolescents on eating disorders, we may only be giving them ideas on how to lose weight. Even though the dangers that come with them were discussed, they may not realize how bad it can really be, so they may believe that the benefits outweigh the costs. So since we learned that high self-esteem plays a role in having a higher body image, I'm going to talk about this study I found that tries to use self-esteem as a way to prevent eating disorders. The study was done by Jennifer O'D and Suzanne Abraham. They had 2 schools participating. One school was a set of students from a co-ed public school, and the other one was from an all-girls private school. There were 470 students in total, ranging from age 11 to 14 and a half years old. 63% of the students were female, and they had 2 groups within each school, the control group and the intervention group. The intervention group took a program on how to improve self-image, while the control group just received their normal personal development and health class. Each student had to guess what they thought each people from this list here, you, like them, their best friend, the opposite sex, other people, and their mom and dad, how they think they would rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. There was no chart from the first time they did this because they had to do it at the very start, 3 months in, and then this chart here is from the 12-month check-in. So this is like a year later. The intervention group ratings increased in every category by the end of the program. I'm sorry, I can't really prove that here with the graphs, but just trust me here. I promise they did. The control group's results had no significant change, and I honestly find it so sad that, and I'm surprised that they gave the father such a low score. Like, they think their father thinks they're ugly, and I think it's just so sad because you think that they would think you think they would love you no matter what you looked like. But anyways, sorry, I went too far actually. I forgot to say that I think that the intervention group had, not I think, we see here that the intervention group had the best confidence at the end of the study, and they gave all positive ratings, even though like they're still not that high. This one's like about 3 here, these ones, but they are much higher than the control groups. So now on to this next slide here. We see that 50% of the grade 7 students saw an improvement in their feelings, attitudes, and beliefs in self-concept. 40% of boys and 95% of the girls, I forgot to say, sorry, in grade 8, these are the grade 8 students here, saw at least one improvement. This is a quote here from the study. I'll just read that out. The reported changes included being more confident, being better able to cope with stress, having a better self-image, being more accepting of themselves, being less likely to accept stereotypes, being more able to see aspects of themselves that they like, being more accepting of themselves, and being more tolerant of others. So here's my thoughts on how we could create a study. I feel like it's important to educate the students on eating disorders and body image. However, I feel the best method to improve adolescents' body image in the best way possible would be to implement an intervention program into schools. We would teach them how to be self-confident before we bring in the heavy stuff. I think a grade 4 class would be the best age since everyone has not gone through puberty yet, and the early bloomers will be, that's about the time that the early bloomers will start to go through it, so they'll be getting it maybe before it happens for them or just as it's happening. The first step in this process would be to teach the students about puberty and that having a growth spurt and gaining weight and the other changes that happen are normal, and everyone goes through them at their own speed. I can't speak for everyone, but when I was in middle school, we were never taught about puberty, and I went in kind of blind to it. So I was really self-conscious during that time, and I believe that talking about it and learning what it would have helped. The step is an important first step, first of all, because some students could be an early mature, like I said, and may need this step sooner than others. Secondly, it's important to bring up what these students may become self-conscious about before we introduce them to the next step. Step 2 would be to install a program that's designed to teach and improve self-confidence. This step must come after the first one so that we don't spend all this time bringing up their self-confidence only to potentially make them feel bad about the changes that they are going to be going through during puberty. I think the people teaching the intervention should either be teachers who are willing to take a class on body image themselves and make sure they're qualified and have the best understanding, or to hire counselors trained in this area. We need these steps to come before the last one so that students understand the changes they're going through and have enough self-confidence that they aren't looking for any weight loss techniques. The final step would be to teach adolescents about the dangers of eating disorders, making sure to highlight just how dangerous they can really be. if we don't teach them about eating disorders, it could risk that they learn about them on their own, but not learn about the negative consequences. So we want to make sure that they learn them in a controlled way, that we know that they're learning the best ways to cope if they start developing them and stuff. And yeah, I think these 3 steps in that particular order would have a big impact on an adolescent's body image. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope it was decent. Thanks for watching, and I'm sorry that I have such a hard time speaking, so I'm sorry. But thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I hope you have a good time marking the others. Okay, thank you, bye.